Good afternoon. Today we will study about the relative adverbs. When, where, how, and why are applied as subordinating conjunctions. The definition of the relative adverb is this. The subordinate clause is linked by the relative adverb to the main clause to specify the definition of the precedent in the main clause. The relative adverb specifies the existence of the subject or object indicated by the precedent in the main clause. The speaker links the subordinate clause to the main clause with the relative adverb to describe the existence of the subject or object indicated by the precedent. The precedent that precedes the subordinate clause. The subordinate clause describes the experience, condition, or action of the subject. So we can understand that the subordinate clause describes the subject or object indicated by the precedent in the main clause with the experience, condition, or action of the subject in the subordinate clause. The precedent whose existence is specified by the relative adverb is a role practiced by a noun or a pronoun to indicate time, a place, a way to a condition, or a reason in the main clause. The precedent that is specified by the subordinate clause linked by the relative adverb is specialized into an indication about time, a place, a way to a condition that the subject attains with the way or a reason. The role of the relative adverb is this: the way of description that the relative adverb specifies the precedent with the definition of the relative adverb on the premise that time, a place, a way to a condition, or a reason indicated by the precedent exists. Resembles a way of specification by the preposition to describe the subject on the premise of the existence. We can wonder about the relationship between the precedent and the relative adverb. The precedent, that is an indication, and the relative adverb, classified as a kind of adverbs, are in the relationship of description. So we can find this relationship between the subject of the preposition and the preposition. The subject of the preposition is also an indication, and the preposition is also classified as an adverb. From this relationship between the subject of the preposition and the preposition, to specify the existence of the subject of the preposition, we can understand that the relative adverb specifies the existence of the subject or object indicated by the precedent in the main clause. The speaker indicates a subject or an object as a precedent on the primary premise that the subject or object exists. So the fact that the speaker states a clause with an indication means that the subject or object indicated by the indication exists. The preposition or related adverb that has the trait as an adverb specifies the description that the subject of the preposition or precedent classified as an indication exists. So the related adverb occurs with the trait as an adverb to describe the other description. The fact that a subject or an object is described to exist means that the speaker describes the existence of the indicated subject or object. Primarily, the speaker can consider the precedent to indicate time, a place, a way to a condition, or a reason as a subject of the preposition and replace the phrase of the preposition to include the preposition and the object of the preposition into a relative adverb. From this description, we can understand that the preposition in the subordinate clause to specify the existence of the subject of the preposition and the object of the preposition to receive the definition of the preposition from the subject of the preposition form a phrase of a preposition, and this phrase of the preposition in the subordinate clause can be replaced into a relative adverb when we consider the linkage between the main clause and the subordinate clause with the precedent in the main clause to indicate the object of the preposition in the subordinate clause. So the speaker can link the subordinate clause to the main clause because the object of the preposition and the precedent in the main clause are accorded. Then the speaker can abbreviate the object of the preposition and link the subordinate clause to the main clause with the relative pronoun. Then we can understand that there is a preposition in the subordinate clause that remains. The speaker relocates the preposition to specify the subject of the preposition ahead of the relative pronoun because the speaker intends to notify the listeners the role of the subordinate clause in the main clause. The preposition and the relative pronoun reveal that the subordinate clause is linked to the main clause to specify the subject or object applied as a precedent. in the main clause. From the recognition that the subject or object indicated by the precedent in the main clause was applied as the object of the preposition.